The Betterment Junkies.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am Mr. White.
And I'm Mr. Black.
And we are the Betterment Junkies. How you feeling today, Mr. Black?
Good. Week's almost over. This week fucking,
That is true.
out.
Today is Thursday, so tomorrow will be Friday, TGIF. I am feeling a lot better. Thank you for asking, Mr. Black. I am
I was
not
sick
feeling
too.
as sick as much as I was last time, but I do still have the cough a little bit. So I am still sniffling a little bit. It's still there. So
Oh, by the way, since we're both sick, just a quick little fact that I learned. I was on the assumption that since it's so cold, that's why you get sick, so you're related to the cold. But actually, cold has nothing to do with you getting sick. It's actually the reason why is just because since it's so cold, humans tend to stay in enclosed areas together under the same ventilation system, so the virus is more prone to spread.
Well, I agree with you there. That's probably more of like the reason it spreads, though, rather than the reason it starts.
No, I mean like that virus. It's called a rhinovirus. It's legit
so
called it.
You specifically researched one type of virus, and this is what you're telling me.
Yeah, because I was sick, and I was
this
like,
is not
what
like
the
you
fuck?
like coming up with the answer to the common cold. This
No,
is
no,
just
no,
you research.
No, this is like I looked the shit up. I looked shit up.
Okay.
Like cold has like it doesn't cause you to be sick.
Well, it can be a factor.
It provides like symptoms. Yeah, it's a factor. It's a factor. You're more likely to get sick in the winter because you do more things that are correlated with you being prone to viruses.
Okay,
that's why.
That I agree with.
Yeah, so then it seems like the cold makes you sick, but technically it doesn't.
The change of temperature can make you even more sick. So like going from cold to warm to warm to cold can fuck up your system. But that's like an old theory. That's not really important.
Yeah, I wonder if that's true. I'm gonna look that up next.
Yeah,
because I was
like, more research
just sitting there pissed at the world. Like, why the fuck am I sick? Why the fuck am I sniffling in the office and everyone else seems fucking fine?
Yeah. So you feeling better now?
Yeah, I mean, every time I get sick in the winter, I'll get sick, but then there'll always be like 6% of it left until summer comes. So I'm like, I'm kind of having runny nose a little bit, but I'm good.
You good?
You got your cough?
Yeah, I got my cough, a little runny nose. Your dog's doing good? He's not sick?
Can dogs get sick?
I think they can. I've seen like a dog have a runny nose before, I swear.
I mean, it's not just like spit or saliva.
Well, their noses are usually full of saliva, but like you can like see the difference of when they have a runny nose compared to like when it's just them licking.
I mean, I'll tell you firsthand, they definitely have digestive problems.
Oh,
like they're not immune to that shit. But I don't know if they get cold. Yeah, they probably do. Which begs to question, like, that means if dogs get sick, with the same line of logic, that would mean like lions would get sick and shit. Rhinos, like all animals will get sick.
I mean, animals can get diseases.
Well, diseases, but I'm talking about like like the common cold where it just comes and then goes because they have their immune. Because they don't get vaccines. Oh, but dogs get vaccines.
Yeah, I mean, we get vaccines as like children as well.
Yeah, but
so I mean, any pet animal will have to be vaccinated, of course.
It just seems weird to me, like there's like a rhino in Africa that has a cold. You know what I mean? Like that, I can't picture that. But it's probably true.
You know why he doesn't have a cold? Because he's in Africa.
But I just told you that the sickness is not correlated with being cold.
Well, he's also not in an entrapped place with the same ventilation as other rhinos.
You got me. Right?
Yeah, there you
use my own Googling against me.
There you go. So anything interesting else happened at work besides your little research going on? Do you even work?
Dude, I have been at this job for like 2 to 3 months and I'm still training.
You're still training?
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I work for like a big IT company, so they have the resources to just train me. But I think I actually have like a moral issue that I was telling you a little bit about before. It was that I have joined this company as an entry-level employee along with someone else. And me and her started together, and she is super nice. And we get along great. We work together. But there's always something in me of going on the grind and working and outperforming people. Like, that's what I feel like I need to do. So,
yeah.
But the thing is, like, I also have an advantage because I am an Indian in an IT company. So the Indians within the department have accepted me into their group. So, like, when I
that's just, I mean, that just, you can't be mad at yourself for luck.
No, but
if it happened to be a bunch of.
No, what I'm saying is they are friends with her too. But they'll give me the scoop of what's really going on in the office to me, and they've actually pulled, like, I've talked to some of them and I've asked them for help. They pulled me aside and they've trained me, like, ultimately in everything, and they've given me some projects to work on. So what the end of the thing is, like, I'm getting more opportunities and learning more than my colleague is, who is not Indian. Okay. So I'm conflicted as in regards to, should I come back and then explain everything here to her, teach her everything, show her what I learned? But then another part of me is like,
now, is this like a competition level type of job? Like, do you have to?
We could both. We could both at the end of this, within a year, we could both get the next position. There's nothing saying that we're competing against each other.
Do you think if you gave her the same information that you're getting, that now she has a more tactical advantage over you, whereas you had it before?
I'm not giving her an advantage over me, but by not giving her the information, I'm allowing her to stay at a certain level and allows me to look better than her.
So you're morally conflicted on this?
Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, like, if you have that cutthroat mentality, which I hear in the back of my head, my dad being like, don't tell her. Just like think about yourself.
I'm almost inclined to tell you not to tell her. It's not. It's like, the thing is, I've met a lot of people that are nice, like very nice people, but when it comes to their field of work, they will take full advantage for their benefits. It's a very, like, look out for myself type of working world when you become an adult.
But then, like, think about it this way too, like, by me teaching her and giving her the extra information, and if you look at it a different way, it's like, I have now created an ally within the company who, if she hears something, she will then share it with me.
True, but you have allies more experience. That you're not lacking allies.
That's very true.
Yeah. So I can understand where you want to try to find the reason to do the morally right thing. So now you're trying to make reason for why it would be the right thing to tell her. But in all honesty, the truth that you don't want to face is this is the biggest advantage you have, and you should not let that up, at least not so easily.
Yeah.
Especially if it's something like, if you like the job so far, what you're doing, and you want to build in the company, or at least build experience, and who knows, move up, get a promotion, whatever. Like, this may be, out of both of you, what makes you different. That's what usually people look at. You're both coming entry level. You both are getting the same training. You both are doing the same exact thing. What makes you stand out more than her?
So you're going the cutthroat way.
Unfortunately, and I'm really not a cutthroat person. Like, you know that. Like, yeah. I'm the nicer
person
out of the two of us.
The choice seems obvious if the question you're trying to answer is, what would a good person do? Then it's like, oh, you obviously share the information, blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, then the other question is, if you are trying to move forward in your career the best possible way, then this is obviously the choice. So I guess for anyone else, I guess this is just what you value.
Yeah. So you want to answer here? What do you value?
So this happened earlier this week. So what I chose to do was to give her some information. So she was appreciative.
See, that's my that is my middle ground.
Yeah, but then I held some key points.
Hey, that's my middle ground. Say if there's the two options, cutthroat or that, you got to take a cutthroat. But my middle ground, not being a cutthroat type of person, is kind of spoon feed the, like, information that'll keep her at bay, but not over me.
Yeah, like, still help her, but then, like,
yeah,
whatever she doesn't readily need right now, I'm not telling her just so that later on it may come up and I will have that information.
Can I know a little bit more about this coworker?
She came to this country like 3 years ago.
Okay, so she's foreign.
Yeah,
ish.
but she's like,
well, the word I'm saying is fob. That's the word I want to
well,
say.
I wouldn't even classify, like, she's like way better than any Indian is after 3 years. Like, her accent, she has a slight accent, but like her English is like perfect.
So she's also Indian?
No, she's not Indian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's from Haiti.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she's
nice lady.
Yeah, she's nice. She's like a year older than me, and she's the thing is, she is very capable. She is very, like, when in the beginning, like, we think exactly like we're head to head trying to get ahead. That's what we're trying to do. Like, so then it's like, so in my head it's always like a kind of a competition.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not actually a competition. We could both do good in this job and then be promoted to different departments, which we're both interested in. So it's not like no one's like playing us against each other. It's not like an investment banking position or some shit like that.
But do you feel like now when you go like on your day-to-day work and when you work alongside her, do you feel the hint of competition from her?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if she senses that we're in a competition. You know what I mean?
So you think she's just naturally doing it?
Well, she's just naturally like, I don't know. Like, I'll give you an example.
Well, I mean, I can't blame her. A black woman, only 3 years in America, like.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. But like, what I mean, like, as an example, is like, we'll both get to the office in the morning, and it's like, hey, I was doing that last night. She's like, oh, it was good. It was busy though. I spent like another 3 hours last night studying the stuff from work. Like, so then I'm like, fuck. So now I don't know if she's even doing that shit, but I'm now, after work, I'm studying because fucking she's studying.
Well, that's good. You got a little motivator.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
It is good.
I think you don't like it, but it's turning out to be a good thing.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's a good thing. It's so different than, like, okay, you're in the banking sector right now, and I used to be in the banking sector. There, I was not afraid to be ruthless because this was sales, top 10 revenue people. I was not afraid. I fucked people over.
It's all numbers. Yeah,
I have fucked people over in that category. Yeah.
No, but I can understand that because the company kind of drives you to be that way.
Yeah.
I remember in IT, when I was in there, yes, it was a competition because you wanted to get promoted, but you still worked around a team that you did the same job with. It was just a matter of, oh, you want to get promoted to that department and I want to get promoted to that department because it was entry level.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so, so it was almost like a friendly competition, and it wasn't solely driven by numbers. It was more like you could have different attributes. You can have a different knowledge of certain, like a software or network or hardware. So you can kind of span off.
There were multiple roles you could kind of fasten yourself into.
Exactly, and you can gear towards that way. Whereas when you talk about banking and sales and very number driven, I've also been in an IT work where it's very number driven. It's very entry level, call based, and it's very like the more calls and the more resolutions you get, the better you'll do in the company.
Yeah.
And after working in those type of systems, it's not my favorite system to be in.
It's weird because those type of environments can be fun. Like, I had fun at a certain point, just like going to grind, trying to be number one.
Yeah,
But then also it then I think either it'll wear on you after a certain time because you have to consistently be doing that all the time, consistently doing that, and then also it wears on you because it's never enough most of the time.
Yeah, and that can get mentally draining. When you put like your utmost effort and you're just coming up short, like that's the most frustrating thing.
A prime example was when I worked at the bank before. We had to sell these type of loans. Me and my manager. My manager said, "Let's go old school, like the way we used to." So he taught me the old school way. So we increased the sales for loans by 300% that year. So then we felt really good about ourselves, and then next year they asked us to double that. Like, already from zero, we put 300, but to them it's just a number. They're like, oh, then just double that. Like, so then doesn't give you incentive. It's just like, that's so unrealistic, and you're just completely, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there has to be a reward for the output that you do. No, so I've been frustrated in those type of systems before. But for
Yeah.
your moral and ethical dilemma, from the way this relationship is sounding, I don't think it's a bad deal that at all that you have a little bit of upper hand.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the middle ground is the best route.
Yeah,
Help her
keep
a
that
little bit.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna
just
like.
spoon feed.
I'm not gonna withdraw any. I'm not like, if she's going into a meeting and she doesn't know some key information.
Yeah, you're
I'm
not
not gonna
like
like let
purposely
her
dick
go.
her
Like,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like, when they
Now
give
that's
a
real cutthroat.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
When they give like projects and stuff, I have like presented it to her and been like, yeah, it's kind of boring and stuff. Like, I've done that, and then so she doesn't take it because I
Okay.
want it.
Okay.
But
So you have played that field a little bit.
yeah, I think it's never good to be like super decisive. It's always good to play the smooth and manipulative route.
I agree. That's the
Yeah.
only route I take.
Yeah. Don't even let them know you're playing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People think I'm everyone's friend at work, but they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah, like, do you do that too? Like, I'm like fucking analyzing the shit out of people, like,
Yeah,
and I know how to deal with certain people.
absolutely. My branch that I work at now is very talkative, very loud, and everybody's got stories they want to share, and including myself. I get involved, but for the most part, I notice myself. I'm quiet throughout the day. I'm just a very observant person.
Hmm.
Like I rather see what I'm dealing with rather than get involved with what I'm dealing with,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
no,
But
that makes sense.
I feel like I'm getting a little cocky. But speaking of my work, since you had a work story,
Yeah, you had one.
I had a work story as well. And this is going off the last podcast when we talked about the government shutdown. Um, it wasn't when I said in the last podcast, like, thankfully it's not affecting me. And even though it's a terrible thing, now it's come to a point where I'm getting affected secondhand, like almost like a secondhand smoke type of feeling. Um, it's not affecting me directly, but the reason it's affecting me and from my work, I have a teller, um, who is my like best teller, and she's like the heart and soul of the branch. She's the loudest. All the customers love her, but she's only part time, even though I'd love her to go full time. So she's like the best thing about the branch.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, she's also the one I talk about a lot that has the two kids. Her two kids rely on childcare services. Government shutdown lasts through February, first week of February. They'll cut down childcare services. There will
Shit.
be no childcare services, and she cannot put her children into daycare. She can't put her 2-year-old, especially her 2-year-old, into daycare. She can't come to work.
So
It's
I
as
have
simple as
no
that.
idea when it comes to kids and stuff. So like, the government shutdown would affect her childcare because
Because these daycares and are funded through government like set up programs.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know that was a thing.
I mean, yeah, like they do pay it, but like she gets government help to pay for her
Oh, okay.
It's like an insurance almost.
Got it. So she gets
Yeah.
government assistance for
Exactly.
childcare. Oh, okay.
But also the childcare services programs also kind of run these daycare programs as well. Like through I don't want to say subsidies is the right word, but through some sort of funding. I don't have a child myself, so I can't
Yeah,
say
I don't know
100%.
about that.
This is just from like what I hear from her and like what she like happens to go through and complains.
This is crazy, dude. Like,
Yeah, and if that happens, I no longer have her at work. And if it also happens, then she now has to find a job somewhere closer to work. So I'm gonna not only lose her for the month, I'm gonna probably permanently lose her.
you know what?
So
It's crazy the situation, because it's like, so far Trump has done shit, but it's always been like, okay, he's doing stuff over there. But
Yeah.
to actually be affected, like in any regard, even secondhand way, is kind of like, he is the most powerful person in the world right now. But like,
yeah,
it's still kind of
it
crazy.
didn't like I keep watching the news about the government shutdown, but it doesn't dawn on you until and me and my other employee, as soon as she told me the news, because I'm her direct supervisor, so she has to inform me of what's going on, unfortunately. But we're close enough where she can relay that information.
Hmm.
And my other coworker was right there listening, which is fine because we're a very open branch. But the minute she said that, we both, I mean, I knew of other people being affected, but I just know of them. It doesn't affect me in any way with their relationship. But this affected my relationship with her, especially my working relationship. And for him, he said the same thing. You're the first person I've heard that I know and care of that is being affected by this government shutdown now. So now it hit home for like both of us a little bit. And then we had some customers come in say the same thing, how food stamps from certain grocery stores are being neglected now because food stamps are a form of payment for grocery stores, which they have to then collect from the government. It's not cash for them. For them to get the cash from the food stamps, they have to give to the government and the government pays them from the food stamp. Government's not paying from the food stamps, they are no longer accepting food stamps. People who live off food stamps can no longer get food.
Holy shit.
So it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal, and it's becoming a lot more widespread than just like the 800,000 employees.
I remember there was another government shutdown that I remember happening. I don't think it was with Trump, but it wasn't.
There have been a few before, never this long. There have been a few before.
Yeah, I think for our next episode, one of us needs to look it up and teach the other person like the history and what actually like I don't know specifically like what this actually means.
So the government shutdown. This is like I haven't done a full research on it. Excuse me, but I've been watching the news recently, and from my understanding, the government shutdown usually happens when the Democrats and Republicans from the House and the Senate can't come to a consensus on certain bills and whatever is being passed. For as example, right now is Trump's his billing for the wall, the 5.6 billion that they're demanding for the wall. So because of that standstill, they then what the government shutdown means is they kind of go into a recess break. I want to say almost for like 2 weeks, and through that recess break, like you mentioned last time we were on the podcast, like TSA agents, they don't get their government checks, but they still have to go to work. Like it just start like all those government programs that were like started from like the FDR type of presidency through World War II. All those programs that help us now, like Social Security, Medicare, and things like that, those programs then start becoming not funded.
But like,
people still.
But like, what I mean is like, all government employees are still going to work, right?
When it's
under the government shutdown, they're all going to work, but they're not getting paid.
Yes, but when it's yes, yeah, that's true. So initially, when the government shuts down, that is still happening.
So then, what I was saying is, if the government employees are still there, then the payroll department in the government is probably still going to work. So what is causing everyone not to get paid? Is it just like under a government shutdown, no one is allowed to get paid? Or is it just like lack of functionality?
I think it's both. Now,
I'm gonna look up the real.
To do more research.
Yeah, we're gonna do more research next time because this is historic. This is the longest one in U.S. history, right?
Yeah.
So it's worth to look into it.
Today was actually a big news for the government shutdown because the Senate was passed 2 bills, one that had funding for the wall and one that didn't have funding for the wall, and both got denied.
Oh wow.
So the government is still in shutdown. They're thinking about maybe reconvening in 24 hours or something like that. Like, yes, there is now a sense of urgency for both parties to try. When I was watching the news earlier, there was like 6 more Republicans that fell off Trump's support.
Mm-hmm.
But the crazy part is because of you, I tried to watch like the opposite news, not just CNN. I tried to watch like Fox News, and I tried to see what like some Republican supporters were reporting about the situation. Some being very cutthroat supportive of Trump. The 2 worst ones I saw was a senator named Senator Ross. He's very old. He did like a CNN interview and they kind of grilled him and he said, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, I understand people are going through something, but people who aren't getting their paychecks, like they could just take out a loan or something. Like he's so not in touch with the working class.
Well, no,
people.
even if like you felt that way, dude, you don't fucking say that on the news.
Yeah,
like know your audience.
he went on to say how it's only like 800,000 people, which is like 1% of 1% from the GDP, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Like, you're a senator. Come on, that's showing someone so out of touch with like common people.
yeah.
Um, and the other one was like Laura Trump, something like that. Is that her name, Laura Trump? I think there's a Laura Trump, but she had an interview where she was like, it's a little bit of pain for the future of America. And then I started watching some of Trump's speeches. And then I had like your voice playing in the back of my head about the romanticism of Trump, the reason he got voted, the reason he's the president. And if me, who's like a Trump hater, could start thinking through, like, God forbid this man was good at speeches. Like, God forbid it. Like, if he was actually good at how he spoke to the public people with the stance he took now, that is a scary, scary thought to me. Like, an absolute scary thought. Like,
Yeah.
I just started thinking, like, we never
No,
had.
but the thing
Like,
is, he is an amazing speaker for his audience.
and
If he
that's
spoke
what
like
got to me.
Obama, then he actually probably wouldn't have won the election, I think.
It was like the first week of January, they tried to come out, and he came out of the White House, and basically that was the speech where he said he's been like in the White House by himself during Christmas and New Year's, and he sent his family to Florida. They basically asked him like, "Oh, Nancy Pelosi said that you're not going to let the government get back on and stuff like that, and you said if it takes a year, then it takes a year," and he just flat out says, "Yeah, I said that." Like, and to me, like, it's like, why are you so stupid? But to supporters, I feel like, yo, that's a man's people. Like, he
Yeah,
just
yeah,
he
that's
just straight up
that's a boss move on that part.
that he just straight up said, yeah, I said that. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. And then I started thinking about the caravan, and like, why Fox News is always reporting on it. Why is there coverage going? Why do we have the smoke pellets and everything at the border? And then I'm starting to think, and I'm getting this crazy thought, like, what if this man actually prevented like the next 9/11? Like, what if, like, now I'm confused. And if a person like me who hates him can confused, like,
Yeah, but it's like he is doing something, but some people who are not all like, you're thinking of those like, like dumbass people who like will support him to the end. If he shot someone, they'd still support him. No, like intellectuals who want certain policy changes, they like him because he does do some conservative things. His tax cuts, his saying, his strict policy on immigration, like they like it. Not that many people, I think, of those people agree with like the wall premise, but the idea behind it, they may agree with them.
Yeah, and it's I'm starting to open my mind and see as to why Republican Party is supporting and getting behind Trump, why Republican supporters are getting behind Trump. And it's honestly more scarier than it was than when he got elected, to have this mind open to the possibilities of like what Trump supporters look like. Not look like, but like
What
what
their
they see
ideology
and
is.
what they ideology is, what they believe,
Yeah.
things like that. So it just, I don't know, man. It struck me crazy. It kind of it's like one of those outer body experiences. Like, dude, you have no idea what the fuck you've been listening to all your life. Like,
I'm telling you, like that's exactly how I felt when I like looked into his past, and then saw that this was not like an accident. This was like all constructed. Like this is what he wanted from the beginnings, and this is what he did. Like,
it was a weird weird, like how I went from CNN to Fox to that type of train of thought. It was a weird experience. I have to say that.
yeah, I mean, the more like, okay, so this is no excuse, but my gym recently, their TV stopped working. So now I don't get news anymore because every morning when I go to the gym, I have the Fox TV and the CNN TV, and it's fucking perfect. Like I just see both channels, who are completely biased, but I think two biases may cancel each other out sometimes. But yeah.
So you just feel like you're getting the neutral side by watching both?
Yeah, but then now the more I think about it, it's like I used to think two extreme biases cancel each other out, and that solution is more of a band-aid. I find out what's going on, But a lot of times, like, you know, that over the weekend, the kid in the MAGA hat, who was a Native American, like, the news reported on that, but they reported on it before they had all the information. So we were given a false narrative. Like, how this was such a small situation in comparison to other things. And you see, like, how irresponsible the news media is.
I do get what you're saying from that. With the MAGA hat kid specifically, I did see an interesting tweet about that. I forget who the tweeter was, but the tweet basically said when Trayvon Martin died, everyone said to stop having their young black children wear hoodies. When something like this happens, no one tells their young white male kids to stop wearing this type of hat. This type of hat. Now, I agree the full story wasn't reported. I do understand that.
Yeah.
But what was reported and what was seen from the video of that type of bold maneuver to proudly show that without a full understanding of what he's showing shows a very, like, I don't even know how to say it better than like an ignorant
like, they're getting desperate. Like, they're trying to compete with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook in regards to news, in regards to where people get their news. So when a story breaks like that on Twitter, these official news media are like, oh shit, this is like a new thing, we gotta grab it. If this was maybe like 20 years ago, that would not have been enough for them to report an entire story on it, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, I can't even speak of that because look where the news has gotten. Like Trump maybe colluding with Russia and paying off a porn, like not maybe he did pay off a porn star. Like that's all second nature news now. That's not a big thing. That's a president of the United States, and that's not a big news like that.
Yeah.
So the way the news is kind of going, yeah, it does. I have to agree with you on that. They're kind of getting desperate.
Yeah. But I think we should have like a dosage meter for how much we talk about Trump every episode.
Yeah.
Or just have one episode where we just like fucking talk about it.
It's just he's always on my news. Like you are excusable, you don't have the news in your gym, but I got news that pop up like as my notifications. I get more notifications about news than I do like from actual friends.
What news app do you use?
I just I have iPhone, so like when you turn on the news app, it allows you to pick a bunch of different online sources like CNN, New York Times, Reporter, things like that. So I picked from the topic sports, political, science, and future technology, and from each topic, whatever the headline is of those newspaper articles, that's what the notification I get. So if I like go on my phone right now, I have 24 notifications from CNN, and the first one is temperatures are dropping to near freezing in North Carolina.
Why the fuck do you need to know that?
But like that's what I get. I also have like Bleacher Report, NBA All-Star starters are announced. LeBron and Giannis voted captains. That's a big news.
Yeah.
You know, the Senate passing the denying the two bills that came up on my news. Let's see what else I got. I got Billboard, Red Hot Chili Peppers will team up with Post Malone at 2019 Grammys. Like, it can't get better than that. Like, come on.
No, like, what I mean is, like, I'm planning on revamping how I get my news. Like, I want to study the news sources and find out where I can get my unbiased news or which places are biased in the way that, like for example, like Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder. They have shows on YouTube about things that are going on. But I trust them more than I trust Fox News because they don't as blindly go with all of Fox's bullshit. Like, Fox is just diehard Republican to the death. Like,
yeah.
But Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro, like, I like them on the conservative side. I need to find someone that's on the liberal side. I used to get, like, when I first started this whole thing, the easiest way I did it was John Oliver, Trevor Noah. Like, these are comedy shows. Yeah,
like the political side.
Yeah.
Satire. Yeah.
Even Stephen Colbert. But, like, I don't enjoy those shows as much anymore. I
I'm
can't.
starting to see like
Complete
the
bias.
bias,
Yeah, complete
the
bias.
yeah, and I get it, but they're hilarious and they do a very good job. I still like
Yeah, yeah,
them,
yeah,
but
definitely.
I am starting to see the complete bias and where they're trying to go with the news. Um, However, they're not always wrong. I'll give them that. They're not always
Yeah, but
wrong.
if you're biased, like you're gonna be right sometimes. But
Yeah,
the
no, no,
key
no.
irresponsibility is like not. I don't know.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I do it. The reason I like my phone news is I picked certain, like I picked time. One of the news was on I have it on National Geographic, and that gave me news about a meteor hit the moon during the lunar eclipse.
hmm,
Like we had like that red moon eclipse on Sunday,
yeah,
and like those type of news, like out. I know what you mean about the political news, but the reason I like this is I kind of get away from political news and I
gotcha.
see
Yeah.
what's happening like elsewhere, world news, USA news. Like there was, I think it was in the Midwest, but this unfortunate lady who was in a vegetative state gave birth, and the nurse who was taking care of her is being prosecuted now for sexual assault. Like
What?
those are, yeah, like
No, see, those are the type of stories where it's like I'm not interested.
I mean, these things happen though. Like
Like
if you
I'm
don't,
not interested in like these stories of just like it's gonna sound super callous, but like I don't need to
like
hear.
normal people.
No, I don't need. Yeah, kind of actually. Like I don't need to hear about extraordinary things that happen to this one individual because I don't know. I'm just so desensitized to it. Like I don't know. It's like, do you care about all the way in Oregon if someone was there was a house broken into and someone was murdered?
I mean, the thing is, you don't initially care. You hear it and say, "Oh my God, that's so bad," and you move on.
Okay, but what
But
did that do for your day?
it's not about the day. It's about the awareness. It's about the mental awareness going forward. That now it's happened to someone, yes, maybe further away from me, but now this is a possibility. I feel the same way with international news. We did the one podcast about Paris
Hmm.
and the idea of like Paris almost going into a revolution. Like, yeah, Paris is so far away, but the implication of a revolution in a different country just felt kind of real to me. The
No,
implication of what's going on for them to revolutionize with gas prices felt real to me.
no.
So
So
it
that
didn't affect me.
you know, but that is what I'm saying. That it makes sense. What I'm talking about is like, okay, I
Like
mean,
these individual, like the vegetative state lady. Let's go to her.
well, okay, let's go to this example. People get murdered in the U.S. all the time. If I were to put it up to you on your phone that you got notified every time someone got murdered within the United States, would you want that to happen?
Well, no, but that doesn't happen anyways, though.
But
Do you get what I'm saying?
each county that has a murder, it's on their news.
It's on their like news because it's public knowledge. Anything that's a police case, any criminal activity that's reported, it all becomes public knowledge, and it's there for you to seek if you want to seek it. The news I get are like headlines of like major things like that, and that's mainly the type of news that other people get as well. The people who are so involved in their county are the people who will probably be looking at the county news, see what's going on and what's being safe and what's not being safe in the county.
Yeah.
You as a homeowner living in that residence, I know for us it's like apartment moving, but people who are residents there and permanently want to grow a family are going to be looking at those type of news. So I think it's very pivotal and important that you still have that public knowledge and that news available to your county and to your residents.
That
So
no, I agree with that. What I'm
yes.
trying to point out to is like there are some stories that I used to get on my phone because Android has a similar like app than iPhone. And you get to select whatever types of news, whatever news sources you want. And I used to get some
Hmm.
news, and that type of with the what was the lady in the vegetative state?
Hmm.
Yeah, like those type of stories. Like I
Well,
don't know. I don't want to hear about
those
them.
type of stories, the reason they get like national attention is because it starts bringing a national attention to something like how nurses and medical professionals could be treating people who are unhealthy. Like that's a conversation starter that should be
Wait. Oh,
happening.
so maybe I misunderstood the story. So like, she actually, the nurse actually did fucked up shit.
Yeah, that's why she got pregnant.
Oh, I thought it was one of
Yeah,
those like
it wasn't
she
like an
just to
allegation to.
sue to get money.
No, she's like completely
Oh, she was like
paralyzed.
awake during this event? Like not awake, but
I
she was like
I don't
aware.
I wish I knew like the full article, but
Hmm.
I don't know if it was something. But the nurse who took care of her is like locked up. Like they
Okay.
found
Okay, so
evidence.
that's different. I thought it was something else. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like these stories that get national attention, I think they're meant to like, even though we were kind of bashing media, like I think it's good for people to get these stories because then it like starts a conversation like this, like what are your nurse practitioners and what are your medical professionals actually doing
Yeah.
with patients? Because I've been to a lot of like medical treatment places, and these nurses and doctors are so jaded from like dealing with death and sickness with all their time, and they just, I mean, I know they care because that's their profession, but it's almost a lack of care at the same time. So
I mean, I don't even know if you can like. I think it's
it's hard
this.
to even like put blame, like you can't blame them either.
Well,
Like
I think it's more
it's,
of a systemic problem because it's like we put in this society we put doctors and nurses through so much shit, and after all that, there's still a huge distrust for the healthcare system. Like people like will talk openly about like, oh, my doctor told me, like with the whole opioid crisis. People are just like, yeah, like I've heard people multiple times like, yeah, my doctor wanted to give me medication, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not taking it. Because they don't trust their doctor now. Like, and anytime they do something, the doctor recommends something, they'll look it up. They'll Google to check the doctor. Like people don't trust their doctors like they used to. And I mean, and like
I mean, that can be
I'm in
said
that
for good
category
and
too.
bad.
Like doctors used to suggest a certain type of diet, and you find out that's bullshit. Like a bunch of stuff. I don't
I
know.
mean, I know like medical professionals, like not doctors per se, like let's say pharmacists. I've heard like even them being spiteful of doctors, and it's more, and you're right, it's more of a systematic issue. Like it's their like incentives and things that they're like kind of
A big part of
wanting
it
to
is,
and having to push.
yeah, a big part of it's medication, prescribing
Yeah, no,
medication,
no,
like
absolutely. And that's
sleeping
why there's
pills,
so it's
ADHD
a
pills, like all that
no,
shit.
and it's a good thing. Like it's a good thing we have the ability to research. Like even though it can show this negative persona of this distrust in your doctors and things like that, I do get the hardship that they may be going through, but I think it's a more beneficial thing for the general public to have that knowledge or to be able to look up that knowledge.
Yeah, but I don't know if everyone looks it up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the other case. It's all there for you. You just gotta do it. That was a lot. That
That
was a lot,
was
Mr. Black.
that was a
I
lot.
I know you had posed a question earlier, which kind of had nothing to do with all this,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. This was
given, yeah,
okay.
given the time, you can pose a question, but let's save it for next time.
Yeah, yeah. We'll post for next time. Um, you had something that you wanted to talk about. Did you want to talk about that now, or should we talk about that later?
Oh yeah, I did
You
have something
did.
I
I
want to
think
talk
we got
about.
like 20 minutes left.
Well, yeah, yeah, we kind of little got a little sidetracked from this.
Yeah.
So I mentioned I was getting married
Hmm.
on the last podcast, and so I am going through this planning process, and I've I've accepted this as the culture as well. I've going into the planning process, I knew this as well, but
Mm-hmm.
like it's my wedding as well, right? Like I'm also going to be get married. I am going to have friends there. I kind of have certain expectations myself too. Like as a man, like
You
and
girl.
you and me used to. You can say that, but like I would, and it's not even expectations for me. Like sometimes those expectations are so that I can see my bride to be as happy as
No,
possible.
it's
Like
like I made that joke, but actually, like, it's actually not like no.
yeah,
It makes sense that you would care about your wedding.
yeah,
Yeah, but for
yeah.
some reason, like men can like make fun of each other in regards like,
Yeah,
oh,
no,
you
and I
fucking care
would
about
make
your
the
wedding.
same joke to you. Yeah, because it's not your wedding. But like now
Yeah.
that it's approaching, like I have certain ideas. We used to dance a lot in high school and college, so like I want to put together a couple pieces. I like a couple songs that I know she doesn't like, So now I feel like I have to run everything by her. Whereas if there's an idea that she would like, and if there's something that she would like, it's kind of just like built in. Like there's no like
I see
back
what you're
and
saying.
forth with me, you know. So and I started to think about it today. I'm like, this whole marriage process thing is very sexist towards me. Like I am not going to win in any situation here. I don't think like I'll be able to get like even half of what I would like to get in my wedding because not only do I have to please her, I got to please the families. Like people say like, oh, wedding's so stressful for like the bride, and then you have shows like Say Yes to the Dress, Bridezilla,
Hmm.
but like it's not easy being the groom. Like it's not.
Because I mean, like, you are also footing, like, if you guys as a couple, I'm not gonna say whether you are or not, but if you guys are paying the bill for the entire wedding yourself and it's expensive, you are splitting it equally. Like, you both are taking on the price of paying for this wedding. So it makes sense
Exactly.
that you would get an equal opportunity. Like, if
Right?
you wanted to walk down the aisle with the Empire Strikes Back theme song, that should be a legitimate
Right?
request. Like,
Right?
because you are paying half the price. Like, it
Right?
shouldn't just be automatically thrown out.
Exactly. Like I agree. Like I have some great ideas up in here. Like
Please
that
tell me
is
it's
a
not Empire
beautiful
Strikes Back,
idea.
though.
That was a beautiful idea. Like I would steal that in a heartbeat. But like I know it's never even gonna get passed. Like I'm not even gonna get it in the House, let alone the Senate. Like it's not gonna happen.
Do you know what? Okay, tell me if you think it's work. If you were able to section off a piece of the wedding and be like, I am solely responsible for this shit.
Yeah, but you know what responsibility they would give you then? Something like pick the flower. Like it's not
No,
like
no, but
it's
then
not
I'm pretty
religion.
sure if you fuck that up, like, it's not actually up to you. Like, if you picked up some
Exactly.
fucked up flower, they'd be like, no, 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 you're not taking that.
Exactly. Like it's not it's like this like I guess it's the life lesson of marriage. It's like
This,
here's your little bit of power, but don't get too hype on it.
this is one of the points that makes me think that sometimes, like, in this day and age, it's either equal or men slightly have a harder time than women now.
uh I can see where you're going with the
In
trend.
the big life events.
Okay, I can see where you're going with the trend, but I wouldn't say that right now that that is the issue right now, but I can see that trend happening and I can see it happening in a lot of other situations that would not be happening like 20 years ago.
I mean,
So
like,
I
think about,
do
like, when in regards to divorce, men get fucked over. That's a clear cut case. And most likely they won't get their kids. If a parent was not to get the kids, most likely it would be the father. If
that's true.
whoever gets, like, alimony, like that bullshit alimony, even if it doesn't make sense for the situation, men are the ones most likely to suffer from that. Weddings. I'm not saying you're suffering, but I'm saying, like, there's definitely a discrepancy here, like a difference.
Yeah,
Um,
I sometimes have to remind her, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna be standing up there with you, right? Like,
that's like your only job that she wants you to do.
exactly, just look good. Just
Yeah.
look good. But no, it was an interesting dynamic that just kind of brought it up, and I was like, man, it's there are some fields out there that are very sexist against men.
Yeah. Like, even in regards to, like, sexual assault within colleges lately.
Yeah,
Because, like, you know, have you heard of the one college that was trying to make it like, if the girl is intoxicated and you have sex with an intoxicated girl, then it is considered rape.
yeah, no,
But the thing is, like, there was a case where the boy and the girl were intoxicated. So then it should be like they were both raped. It
I
shouldn't
know,
be
I
like,
agree,
it
I
shouldn't
agree.
default be like, the girl.
It's the same thing like when we see with little boys and little girls. If a younger male or and what do you call it when they're illegal because they're illegal at 18, so someone younger than 18, if a boy younger than 18 hooks up with a girl older than 18, he's revered or he's seen as a man and he's championed,
Mm-hmm.
whereas if a girl were to do that, she's revered as a slut or like or she's raped or she's like depending on how the consensus and things go,
Yeah.
it's a victim type cry almost, and it's a victim type of feel. The
Yeah.
male is not a victim at that point, but the female is a victim.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of discrepancy.
Reminds me of one of
Equality means both ways.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of Bill Burr's, like, sketches. He's just like, women are overrated.
What? That sounds like you. That does sound like you. You got the Bill Burr cut and everything, so it sounds like.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite comedians now.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I mean, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, definitely.
What about Kevin Hart?
Kevin Hart is like Walmart.
It's like,
if I want to laugh, I can always rely on Kevin Hart. Like, I can, like, he's hilarious. He's a mogul. Like, he's everywhere. But if I want a certain type, like, if I want, like, some really raunchy, like, fucked up shit comedy, I might go to, like, Jim Jeffries. Or, like, but if I want, like, some sophisticated drinking some whiskey, or just, like, to watch a real professional, I go to Dave Chappelle. Or Bill Burr. Like, Bill Burr is, like, where you reach your angry comedy from. Bill Burr.
Okay.
I've been, like, really into comedy lately as an art form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of art form, I'm sorry to kind of cut off topic, but it just happened today. I listened to an artist that a coworker suggested, and I listened to his entire album. It's only about 38 minutes long. I want to say maybe 12 tracks or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really digging, like, the first 2-3 tracks. So I was like, you know what? I'll give the whole album a try.
Yeah.
And it just came out this month. And man, like, it has been a while since I have engulfed in an art form that was meant to be the way it was meant to be. His entire album is meant to be like this love story. And it's almost like this trippy love story of this space type feel. In the intro and in middle of the tracks, he's talking to like an AI that he's on a spaceship, and she says like powers are up, shields are up 100%. And as the tracks go on about like this love rising and falling, shields are going down, losing like different types of fuel, and by the end of it, it's like almost like a content feeling. And it was just like this perfect illusion of what a love life could entail and does entail to a lot of people. This rise of what true love means to them, and then this fall of betrayal, mistrust, and all these fights that you have, to this content feeling of just letting it go.
Wait,
and it was like this. His name is Sir, S-I-R. Recently just found him as an artist thanks to a coworker. And not only the it's Mr. Smith. He was on our podcast.
Yeah.
He's a rapper.
He recommended it?
He just kind of plays. When we start closing up, he'll play like his library. We'll shut off the radio. He'll play his library. And he had this 2-3 songs on repeat, and I was really digging the vibe. It's a very neo soul jazz vibe, and I was digging it. So I asked him today. I'm like, "Who was that artist you were playing the other day?" And he got real happy. He shared with me, and so I listened to the song. But then I saw that he had a whole album, so I was like, "Let me give this a shot. I got a little bit of time. Let me give it a shot." And I went on that journey with that man. I went on that journey of like highs and lows of relationships, and I just applauded. Like that was an artist. Like that was an artist.
I gotta listen to that.
It was good. It was good. I'll send it to you. Okay. I think we've overextended our stay here a little bit, Mr. Black. I would love to hear the question posed for the next podcast, because you had an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, so I think we'll just preface the next episode with what we're going to talk about next time. What I asked you was, you being about to get married and me being recently single, if we were talking to someone younger than us, what would you say are the most important qualities you should look for in a woman? What are the most important ones? Or what are you looking for? Or like, what are the universal ones, you think? And what are maybe some specific ones?
Personal ones.
Yeah, personal ones, yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
We could talk about that for a while.
Absolutely. And then you had the second question about religion, which I really liked as well.
Yeah, my whole premise is religion hurts people and it's not good, and everyone should just let go of it.
Yeah, you just kind of like blurted this out to me today. I'm like, whoa, what? And,
I was more like, just to be polite, I was always more agnostic, like, I don't know, and stuff like that. But the more and more like I looked into it, the more and more I look into it, like, I'm not going to go up to people and be like, you're stupid, your religion's stupid. Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I know.
But like, I actually, like, if I'm very honest with myself, I don't see any benefit in religion, and I think it's the training wheels of humanity, and we should just get rid of them.
Those are some very heavy words. Well, we will get into those next week. I don't know if I can completely disagree, but I'll try.
I'm not religious.
well,
You are religious to an extent.
I do relate with my culture and my religion, but I'm not as religious as I used to be.
You believe primarily in like God and some things within God.
You're gonna make me define myself, and I'm just not ready for that. I don't think so.
Well, you could just simply say that you're open to the possibility of there being a God.
I am. I am
Okay.
open to the possibility of both sides. Yes.
Okay. So you're wishy-washy on it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
convince you that you're God.
The thing is, okay, we'll get into this next time. We'll get into this next time. we'll get into it next time. I'm gonna have to put some notes down on
I'm
paper
gonna
and
like
everything.
okay, because I know you can take it. I'm gonna go at you full on in that topic.
Please bring it. I would love to hear
I am going
it.
to try to destroy your world beliefs.
Take it. I will take it.
All
I will
right.
take it.
Okay.
Destroy my world. Make me cry.
okay. This is sounding weird. Let's stop.
All right. Mr. Black, is there anything else you'd like to wrap up?
No, but if someone wanted to find out more about us, how would they do that?
Yes, we are revamping a couple things, as I mentioned on the last one, like our website and Facebook post or page. But we are still on Instagram and Twitter. You can tweet us at TB Junkies. Find us at the Betterment Junkies. You can tweet at Mr. Black or Mr. White. I'll see it some way or another. And if you do like us and you are listening, please share. We're on YouTube. You can find us through the Betterment Junkies on YouTube. We have a couple podcasts, but now we're trying to serialize all these and trying to get all this in order. So you can start from number 1 or whatever you like to hear. We have that interview with Mr. Smith. He is a rapper. He has an album out. We have interesting podcasts like those. If you like us, please share, like, and subscribe on YouTube. And eventually we'll get onto iTunes, I promise. All right. Signing out. I'm Mr. White.
Mr. Black.
And we are the Betterment Junkies.